This is Entertainment for Review, and today I'm going to be reviewing another episode of The Big Bang Theory, and today's episode is Season 3, Episode 19, The Wheaton Recurrence. And as the title suggests, this is the second appearance of Will Wheaton in the show. It's also a very important point in the show, because in this episode, see Leonard and Penny's first attempt at dating each other come to an end. Took 2 full seasons to get to, comes to an end after 1 season. But how does this happen? As this episode starts off, Leonard and Penny are together in bed, and Leonard, feeling confident in where they are in their relationship, decides to tell Penny that he loves her. Fortunately for Leonard, this takes Penny off guard, and she seems kind of shocked and just says thank you, and then decides that they should go to bed.
I love you, Penny.
Right away from the beginning of this episode, Leonard and Penny are in an awkward place. Had to have really hurt Leonard to have said this and not gotten the return he was expecting. Clearly also difficult for Penny, who got caught off guard by this when she clearly didn't think it was coming quite yet. Wasn't ready to reciprocate those feelings. As the episode progresses, this puts Leonard in a very bad mood when he's with his friends the next day. They're having their normal friendly type of conversations, and this time they're talking about giant ants, and Leonard is just in a bad mood saying that he really doesn't care. They continue these discussions at the comic book store, moving on to other types of animals. Shocked when Leonard doesn't have an opinion on a peculiar topic.
Really? Because every time we've talked about unusual animal genitals, you've always had some pretty strong and controversial opinions.
They're trying to figure out why Leonard's in such a bad mood, all except for Sheldon, who just doesn't care. Howard and Raj take turns guessing what's bothering Leonard. Sheldon goes over and talks to Stuart, and we find out that Sheldon and the gang are going to be playing in a bowling match against Stuart and a team of his. They get back to the apartment building, they run into Penny while going up the stairs, and it's clear that her and Leonard are still feeling very awkward around each other after what happened the night before. But Sheldon reminds Penny about the bowling match, and she says that she will be there. When they get to the bowling alley, Stuart and his team arrive as well, and Stuart announces that they have a substitution for one of their players who couldn't make it. And that substitution is none other than Will Wheaton.
I believe some of you know Will Wheaton.
The intro of Will Wheaton in this scene is very perfect when he does a dramatic turnaround right over Sheldon's shoulder. Sheldon and Will Wheaton exchange words in which it's very clear that Sheldon is still upset with Will Wheaton over what happened in the previous episode he was in. Will says all that he knows is that he's living rent-free in Sheldon's head, which is clearly true. At this point in the show, Will Wheaton is portrayed as a bit of a jerk and a pretty villainous character. As the game is progressing, Leonard can't hold it in anymore. When he offers Penny some chili cheese fries, she says she loves chili cheese fries, and he makes a snarky remark about it. This is his big mistake of the episode, because he'd be blamed for wanting to bring this up and talk about it with Penny more, but he chooses to do it in a public place while they're in the middle of this game, and around a whole group of other people. As I said, it's very understandable for Leonard to be upset about what happened, but choosing to go on the offensive about it is not the right way to go. And Penny is very understandably upset about this and chooses to storm out of the bowling alley, causing them to forfeit the match. This upsets Sheldon, so the next day he goes to talk to Penny. He brings her ice cream because he read a comic strip in which a character likes to eat ice cream when she's upset. He tells Penny that he was very upset about having to forfeit the game the night before, and in fact he's not ashamed to admit that he cried himself to sleep the night before. He says that was not made easy because Leonard was singing along to some sad music in his room. Penny's not too happy to hear this, but Sheldon moves on to what he's really here to talk about, and that's that he's arranged a rematch with Stuart's team from the night before, and he says that they need Penny in order to win. Penny's hesitant because she says things are still awkward between her and Leonard, and Sheldon says that he'll kick Leonard off the team if that's what it takes. But Penny says that she'll talk to him, and Sheldon wants to know when and tells her that Leonard's in the laundry room right now, and she knows that he's not going to stop until he does it, so reluctantly she goes down to talk to Leonard in the basement. She does come into contact with Leonard. It's clear that he's changed his tune quite a bit. She doesn't seem to want to talk too much because I believe he fears that a breakup is potentially on the way. However, they do talk, and it does seem a little bit awkward. Leonard says that he understands that she might not be in the same place as him, as he's been in the relationship for 2 years longer than her. Penny shares her side. She says that she's basically not ready to say that quite yet. Says that she's been in relationships before where she has done so and it hasn't turned out well, so she doesn't want to rush it. By the end of the conversation, things seem to be going in a positive direction, and Sheldon, having been eavesdropping, is very happy and says that they need to head out to go to the bowling rematch. At the bowling alley, Sheldon tells everybody he's decided to name their team the Wesley Crushers as an attempted insult to Will Wheaton. Intends it to emphasize the Crushers and wants the team to be called the Wesley Crushers. Everybody points out that calling the team the Wesley Crushers makes the team sound like a group of people who like Wesley. And that's what Will Wheaton thinks when he walks in. He thinks they've named their team after him. So Sheldon puts the shirts away. And this is getting to the point where Will Wheaton is at his most devious in this episode. First, he continues messing with Sheldon, first by intentionally messing him up. They were up to bowl at the same time. Then he moves on to his most devious act, and he messes with Penny. Sitting next to her, he says he dated a girl, and he once told her he loved her too early, and she strung him along for 2 years, and he said it would have been more merciful if she had just broken up with him right then and there. Seems like he's trying to be nice, but of course he's just trying to get in Penny's head, and it works. And Sheldon notices this as if Will Wheaton was trying to get in her head. And comes the straw that breaks the camel's back. As Leonard, not being able to let it go, sits down and has a more casual conversation with Penny, and it seems to be going okay until he says, maybe one day you'll say you love me back. He just can't seem to let this go and keeps picking at it. It seems to push Penny a little over the edge. They have a small back and forth, and Penny says this isn't fair to you, and she says she's sorry, and she storms out of the bowling alley again. Before she said this isn't fair to you, which is the same thing that Will Wheaton had said about his previous ex-girlfriend, who probably doesn't exist anyway. Sheldon is upset and tries to stop stop Penny from leaving because this would mean they would forfeit again. And this time they placed a bet on the game in which the winning team gets to publicly humiliate the losing team in a manner of their choosing. However, Leonard tells Sheldon to let Penny go and says he's pretty sure it's over anyway. I think he realizes that this moment is the end of their relationship. Sheldon asks Will Wheaton if he had done this, and Will Wheaton's kind of proud of it. He doesn't even really try to hide it. He tells Sheldon, "You think I would break up a relationship just to win a bowling match?" Sheldon says he doesn't think so, but then Will Wheaton just outright confirms it and says, "Good, you keep thinking that."
You did this, didn't you? You think I would really break up a couple just to win a bowling match?
No, I suppose not.
Good. Keep thinking that.
He is one evil, villainous Will Wheaton. With Penny leaving, they have officially forfeited the bowling match and have lost the bet with Stuart, and Stuart decides to cash in and give them their punishment. And the public humiliation that he has chosen is to have Leonard, Sheldon, Raj, and Howard come to the comic book store dressed as female comic book characters. Howard's dressed as Batgirl, Leonard's dressed as Supergirl, Sheldon is dressed as Wonder Woman, and Raj is dressed as Catwoman. Most disturbingly, it's the Halle Berry version of the Catwoman suit. All look thoroughly ashamed and embarrassed, except for Raj, who is embracing it. You have to question Stuart's motives, because who would want this? That is how we close Season 3, Episode 19, The Wheaton Recurrence. So as I said, this is a very important moment in the show because we do see Leonard's first run of dating come to an end. And it's a rather abrupt end at that. What took 2 seasons to build is unraveled in a single episode. It seemed like they were going strong and doing well, even though a few episodes had maybe some small indicators of what was to come. Seems like they maybe could have overcome these problems. He was just expressing his feelings at the beginning of the episode, and Penny wasn't quite there and ready to do that yet. Not the fault of either side. Leonard makes his mistake is that he couldn't move on or deal with it in a manner that was constructive or helpful, kind of attacked Penny with it, and he just kept nitpicking about it at various points. Clear that Penny was upset but trying to move forward, but then we add the catalyst of Will Wheaton, planted a bad seed in Penny's head, basically confirming the fears that she's already having. She says that she's been in relationships before that has failed because she said "I love you" too soon, scared of that happening yet again. To Will Wheaton, who says that be kinder to just let the person go rather than string them along for an extended length of time. This grips Penny's fear that she doesn't know where this relationship is going to go in the long term. When they have another argument, she just decides to end things here and now because she thinks it's the merciful thing to do. As we know, the story between Leonard and Penny is far from over. This brings an end to their first run of dating. I think that Will Wheaton does this just to win a bowling game is indeed a very villainous character.
Sheldon, embrace the dark side.
That's not even from your franchise.
And that's a fact of which Sheldon is very much aware, but nobody else seems to notice. This is a very interesting continuation of that rivalry going on. The episode is very crucial to the show, major turning point in the storyline, and is very well done. That's why I score this episode at a 9.5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comment section below. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Please keep an eye out for my next video coming soon.